You know, the sponsor of the legislation talks about having to basically treat everyone right, and talks about the fact that we've got a $5 billion or greater, I believe it's greater actually now, industry. Well, that's not $5 billion back to the farmer. That's gross value of product produced across the state. And the farmer's got a tremendous amount of expenses that go along with that, including property tax and insurance and workman's comp, quite frankly. All of that, you know, we have the highest property taxes probably almost in the nation, highest workman's comp costs in the nation, and yet we fail to be able to provide any real relief on some of that with workman's comp reform or local property tax reform in many cases. We do have some ag exemptions, and that's great. But it gets back down to what's left in the farmer's pocket after he sent the milk off to make yogurt. The yogurt people make money, the truckers make money, the stores make money, and what gets back to the family farm is basically pennies. They don't even know what the milk is going to bring them back as a profit once it leaves the farm. They have no control over it. They even have to pay to have it delivered to the processing plant when it's measured on the farm. So there's a lot of issues here that we could still work on. And the sponsor talked about as if we were giving away kind of the candy store with some of these breaks on farmers. But quite frankly, because of all the imposition of DEC and the Department of Health and all the people that they're regulated by, it's a very costly adventure. And they need those breaks in order to stay in business. What I see here is removing some of the thresholds that, quite frankly, some of the smallest farms would enjoy. I'll say enjoying because they've been able to still maintain their business by having maybe a part-time employee or a single employee. But we have thresholds there for a reason, to preserve that small family farm. And so what she's doing with this legislation, quite frankly, is attacking those small family farms and increasing the cost of doing business. If you're worried about the labor, getting them paid fairly well or having better wages, quite frankly, if it's a guest worker, they're paid a minimum of $10.91 per hour so far this year. And that's more than some factory wages. So they are getting more than minimum wage. They have, quite frankly, they have benefits like housing. They have food that they can take off the farm. Oftentimes, what I found is farmers give the employee all the milk they can drink. Quite often it's beef, if they have beefers that they can butcher. So there's a lot of benefits they can give as non-monetary benefits, but it's very essential in the survival of that farm to keep the cash outlay low, but yet provide some benefits to keep that worker there. I commented earlier that many of these workers are treated like family. Because of the nature of the work, they're a very important part of this family farm operation. And I've talked to many, many farmers across the state, and they treat their people very well. I've talked to the workers, and I still maintain that the sponsor of this legislation should go out and do a farm tour. And I know Farm Bureau would be glad to set that up and be able to sit be on the farm, talking to the workers, talking to the farmers, and not be in a hearing situation where you get a select group of people to come in and complain about something that they think is going on or may have gone on in their life, but it might be a very small piece of the pie. What I see in this is the one piece that we didn't talk about is the right to organize. And I think I've seen numbers of about 30,000 farm workers across the state. And so this is really, in my mind, kind of a made-up situations for the purpose of gaining union membership that they can now take out of these so-called low-income people, the people who are not getting very much money, but they can extract the union dues out of there and purpose for generating the numbers in the union. That's sort of the thing behind the curtain on this that nobody's been able to tell me that's wrong. And I having operated a farm, and again, been on many farms across this state, I know for a fact, if you don't treat your workers well, they won't stay. And I have gone to many farms where it's career workers there. They stay because they like their job. They stay because they're getting benefits. They stay, they're getting housing possibly. They're getting reasonable pay. And so these people stay on those farms because they do like the benefits. And if it's a case of a migrant worker, somebody, an immigrant coming in, they keep coming back to the same farm for a reason. They have other options. So this is sort of a solution looking for a problem. I'm going to be voting in the negative.